Yeah, good.
And in terms of what you could at least surmise from your initial study of Seattle, I know that they've probably focused more of their resources on the CCL, but what have you taken away from them in their time since then in terms of what they look like going into this contest?
I mean, they have a formation that a system that they used to repeat, but from this formation, from this system, they have a lot of mobility and different behaviors in the three different lines. So yeah, then is the quality, the individual quality that they have, that they are able to unbalance and to make the difference in every line and in every sector of the pitch. So will be very, very different from the last game, defending and attacking. So again, we need to understand what we need to do to be effective defending, and try to see what are the ways, what are the spaces that we can take for us to be able to create chances.
You got a little bit of a sample size of what you can see from Kerwin. You mentioned trying to get him almost sped and fast tracked up to speed in terms of the game model. What do you need to see from him to let you know that he's able to get heavier minutes than just the 20 or so he's gotten at the end of these last two contests?
Many things, but continuity, and above all, the defending in general, defending spirit, the aggressiveness and the physicality that this league requires. So when we need to match up and to be able to compete, we need this continuity, this physicality. So not only attacking, because we will not have the 100% of the possession. So of course we will have, or we will try to have the possession, but the other team also plays, and we need to know how to defend and be super aggressive defending, and be able to, in terms of physicality, to be able to match up and to make these defending duels. He's still adapting in this way, and also regarding with the rhythm and the intensity, because this league is higher than where is he coming from.
And lastly, this is two matches in a row where you guys have conceded early. Have you been able to figure out what's happened with those instances? Because it's happened other times this season. Is there something that's a common thread in particular, or what's been your message in terms of trying to curtail that?
No, of course. Both are coming from previous mistake. It's not when you see that something happens, you need to analyze the very beginning of the play. So for example, the last goal in the corner, okay, we already assess and study some behaviors from our player to miss this first and second ball, but we consider a corner, and the mistake is before the corner, and how we miss a pass, and we miss a very, very easy pass when we consider a corner. So okay, you can analyze, okay, the mistake in the action of the goal, but what we used to do is to go back and say, okay, what did begin? And this is what we are trying to analyze, and to avoid that we repeat the same mistakes.
Thank you. Travel safe.
Thank you.
All right, guys, just a reminder, if you have a question, please do raise your hand. We'll move over to John Lupo.
Miguel, with this being your third match in the last week, how heavily will you rotate the squad for this game on Sunday?
No, we will see not today, tomorrow. How is everybody? Who is fully recovered from the last games? Who can repeat? Who can't? Who we need to replace? So it's a process also with the SNC coach, with the physios, to see how they are and if they are able to compete on Sunday. And with this information, we will make the decision. But we need to have all this information on the table to decide the starting 11.
Also, with Ben being the #1 overall pick in the draft and being the first real young face of the franchise, how would you describe his development from the beginning of the season to now, and how pleased are you with where he is so far?
About Ben. Yeah. So Ben, I had a conversation with him a few days ago because he was feeling already the pressure and the responsibility. So of course, the starting was too good for him, in my opinion, and his performance was too good. And the people, of course, put the expectations very high, and it's easy for him at the beginning of the season, because there is no pressure, so you come new, everything is, but now when the people is waiting a certain level and you are not able to respond or to reach to this level, is when you start to feel the pressure and when you feel uncomfortable. And is when the transformation starts, is when you start to adapt to the competition. What is the reality? I mean, he's coming from college, something very, very far from the MLS level. And he is also adapting to play often this amount of minutes. And it's difficult for him to recover as good as before, because of course the intensity is not the same, it's much higher. So his body is suffering a little bit, is adapting, and also he's not the best on the pitch anymore as he was in college. So all these things now new for his mind, for his body. We need to be patient, with him. And I believe that after our conversation in the last game against Red Bull, I saw him again with more, more, I don't know how to say, but with the body language as before, composed and less stressed, enjoying and flowing more with the game, and it's what he needs to do. He has talent enough to compete. He has my full confidence because he's in the starting 11 almost every game. So, but yeah, we need to understand that he's very young. He's adapting for a new league with new demands, and he needs time, to be consistent.
Very well. Safe travels to Seattle. Good luck.
Thank you.
Move on to Mike.
Hey, Miguel, good to see you again. Here you go, wave at you. The loss to Red Bull knocks you out of the Open Cup. I know you don't want to lose. I know you want to win every time you take the pitch, but as a result of being eliminated from the competition, is that maybe a little weight off your shoulders now that you can just kind of focus on the regular season schedule with this team that you have often described as just a baby in the league, and trying to learn to grow and walk and do all the things that you want to do?
No, of course, we wanted to be alive in the competition and go as far as possible, because we are crazy competitors and we want to win, and we never want to lose. But yeah, if we go for something positive off the pitch, because there are many things positive on that game, Yeah, now we have a long week every game, and it's always more helpful, you know, to prepare a game with time enough to test different things in the training. Okay, let's go for this the next game, but you test in the training and you review the session saying, I don't think that this will work, so let's change tomorrow. But yeah, you can do this all in a long week. So yeah, I mean, looking this like in this way is helpful for us.
And I just have a question about Kalina. You knew what you had in him when you brought him on board, but has he exceeded your expectations of what you were looking for in your goalkeeper?
I mean, we assessed, as I said, many goalkeepers. We had many options. We had very, very clear the profile of the goalkeeper that we wanted. And finally, we believed that Kalina was the one. And we were all, the sporting director, the chief of scouting, the goalkeeping coach, myself, we were all aligned that he was the one, or he could be the one. But of course, when you bring something, when you hire someone, you don't know how he will adapt, how he will respond. It's always a risk. Anyone that you hire, anyone. And of course, it surprised us how quick he adapted to the league, how he engaged the crowd, the people, how he's committed with the fans, with the club, with the teammates. So now we know, and surprised me. Yes, I could say yes, but very, very positive. And yeah, you don't have, I mean, you don't have this information before hiring any player.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Steve?
Hello, Miguel. Thank you for that explanation of where about Ben and his situation adapting to the professional game, which is much different, regardless of how high level you play on the university level. Professionals play a different game, and that's where I wanted to ask you about that, because like on that first goal against New York, you know, and watching that, and I watched it over a few times. It looked like Ben was in a position of not as much defending the goal as he was trying to defend himself, because I mean, he was getting roughed up in there, and it kind of distracted him from where the ball was in that side. Are you working with him and Chris Heggart and so the other young players in some of the more professional, you know, tricks and experience for how to deal with physical play in close quarters like that? Because Ben seems much better in an open field than he does when he's like posting up or, you know, in a man-to-man situation that's tight.
I mean, of course, we have situations in the training where we train these kind of things, but finally, the best teacher is always the competition, and they need to face this in the competition, because also I can create many situations in the training that will never be the same as the game, because the game has the pressure in itself and the context in itself that you never are able to create in the training, because of the responsibility of the game, the fear to lose, the fans, the referee, the opponent that are not your teammates, are opponents. So of course, Ben needs to face this situation in every game, and Chris Heggart and George Mark and all these guys need to have these kind of mistakes, need to face this kind of situation, and with the time, learn from these mistakes and try to, to be coachable from the competition, but it's the competition the one that will teach them.
And also because in my own experience of when I've had the chance to compete against those who have played on the professional level, I've learned they know a lot more, let's say, I don't want to say dirty tricks, but they know more things about, there's certain ways you can hold a player. There's certain ways you can stand your ground or even position your body to be stronger against someone who is bigger and like that. Are some of the veteran players, taking time to teach these tricks of the trade to the younger players?
Yeah, and also I talked a lot with Ben, and we were talking last week and 2 weeks ago about his first touches, about his controls, and there is no technical gesture without a tactical intention. So it's not only a matter of how I control the ball, it's what I want to do next after my first touch. And I said to Ben, sometimes you have a space enough, but you want to do something. You want to play forward, you want to go wide, you want to engage an opponent. Sometimes you have a space, but when you receive the ball, now you have an opponent. So you don't have a space and time anymore. And sometimes you don't have a space and time because you are marked already. So depending on these three different situations, your control and your body need to work in different ways. But this need to be before, in your mind, you need to think before where you want to do. So how is your context? I have a space. I don't have a space. Where I want to go? I have an opponent here. So you need to think super quick. And of course, now he has much less time than college. And in college, even when he makes a bad control or a bad first touch, he was able to regain again because of his body, because of his capacity. But now he can't, because his opposition, the duel, the opponent that he will be with him is better than him. So he needs to adjust his game, his way of playing, if he wants to survive in this jungle. So he needs to adjust, and let's see his response. If he's able to transform and to adjust his way of playing, he will survive. If not, he will not. He will not, because the opponent is better than him.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, Caleb.
Hey, Miguel. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you just a bit about your expectations for the team going into Seattle. You just played a midweek game. You've played 2 matches in 6 days. What are the expectations you have for the team? What have you told them that you want to see from this game?
I mean, after the first half of the Red Bull, I get back, and I got back in the halftime, talking about making a step forward as a team, as an individual players, as a coach, away. So I told them in the halftime that we were making this step against Red Bull. We were competing much better in that game than in any game before. Also, because the difficulty of the game, for me, was the most difficult game away that we had until now. So their response was really positive. So they made a step. So of course, I want now the consistency of this response. So I want another step, and another step as an individual players, as a team, and myself as a coach, to get now a better result, a more positive result for us, not only how we are competing, but of course, to get a good result, we need to compete well. If not, there's no chance.
And follow up to that, what would it mean to get a result away in Seattle after playing 2 games against the CONCACAF Champions League winners? What would getting a result mean to you?
Of course, I'm not taking a plane almost 6 hours to just fight for a point. I mean, if I go there, it's because I want the 3 points. If not, I stay here. I mean, I never wake up in the morning thinking on Saturday maybe we get a point. I don't have this shit mentality. I go always for the 3 points, and if not, I don't make my job.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem.